Okay, hi, I'm morbid obese, started at 376 pounds. I'm down 78 pounds. If I gain that weight back, I will most likely die. I calorie restricted. What am I supposed to do now? Well, if you want to lose more weight, because eventually you are going to plateau due to losing weight at the expense of your metabolic rate, which means that your metabolic rate is just going to slow down to the point where you're not going to lose weight anymore, even if you still have weight to lose, because your body senses that it's in a famine state, so it has to slow everything down and then prime itself for storage again when food starts coming in. So I say just go all in on a high carb, low fat diet and just start moving forward from there. Unfortunately, if you would have just eaten high carb, low fat at the 376 pounds, you probably would be down the 78 pounds and you'd still be continuing to lose and eating as much as you want without having to calorie restrict.
I'm ready for my medicine.
Okay, in a minute, okay? Let me finish up. Okay, this next one's a big one. Just curious, are there any ex-nutritarians or Dr. Fuhrman fans who are your clients? He is the exact opposite of you in the plant-based world. He thinks all high-carb foods should be avoided or limited except for beans. He thinks white rice, white wheat, and every kind of sugar is pure junk food and should never be eaten, even if you eat zero overt fats. He says to avoid eating too much fat as well, but says that is very unhealthy to not eat a small amount of nuts or seeds each day. He thinks that it is actually good to have a slower metabolism by eating less calories, and that will make you live longer. I get everybody's ex-clients. I think it's because everybody finds that, people like Dr. Fuhrman, Dr. Goldner, Healthy Emmy, McDougall, they all don't provide people with a sustainable dietary approach, okay? So I would say, based on your description of Dr. Fuhrman, I don't think he really understands human metabolic biochemistry, and I don't understand how you can be a doctor and not understand that our metabolism primarily runs on glucose, meaning that we need to have sufficient amounts available in order to have a healthy metabolism. What Dr. Fuhrman is suggesting is that people predominantly run on gluconeogenesis because you're eating some beans and not very much fat, so you're still eating some food but not so little carbohydrates that you're in ketosis, so you're in gluconeogenesis. So basically you're producing a lot of cortisol and you're catabolizing muscle protein in order to generate glucose, neither of which are good for longevity. In fact, staying in gluconeogenesis long term and chronic undereating, yeah, you might live longer, like in comparison to, somebody who eats like a standard American diet, because you're restricting your dietary fat intake, but you're going to age faster. You're going to have a lot of problems related to elevated cortisol, like immune function problems. You're going to have low muscle density, so you're going to be more prone towards osteoporosis and things like that as you get older, because muscle is necessary in order to protect our bones in terms of like strong muscles, strong bones, right? So having just putting resistance against your body is healthy for its metabolism. In order to have a healthy metabolism, we have to have healthy muscle tissue. And in order to have healthy muscle tissue, we have to eat enough carbohydrates to protect that muscle tissue from being broken down and turned into glucose. So you got to eat enough carbs to prevent that from happening. So Dr. Fuhrman really just promotes like an anorexia diet. But like I said, these people who promote, a calorie restrictive, lower fat diet, they are addressing one part of the problem, which is people's dietary fat intake, predominantly coming from oils and from animal products. But The other side of it, and this is why they don't have success with their clients long term, is because they're not accounting for the importance of glucose in the diet and the importance of eating sufficient carbohydrates every day. Okay, why not protein? It's the only thing that makes me lose weight and keep me full. When I don't eat protein, I'm always hungry, and I can eat all day until I burst and beyond, and I don't like to eat. If I could, I would take all my food in a pill once a day. Okay, this sounds very flagging for disordered eating. The thing is I'm not suggesting a zero protein diet here. I'm suggesting that you eat enough carbohydrate calories every day so that you're supplying your protein needs as well, which is really easy to do when you eat enough calories every day. For a woman, that's a minimum 2,000. For a man, that's a minimum of about 2,500. The thing with protein is that because it's really dense, when we eat it, it requires a lot of energy from our body to process. Eating protein too, like in the absence of sufficient carbohydrates, you're going to be utilizing more cortisol. And cortisol is going to allow you to get through feeling like hungry, right? Because cortisol is really something that we use in terms of like fight or flight. So like think about exercise, how, you know, when you're really pushing it, you're not hungry because you're dealing with cortisol. You know, it helps you to, you know, utilize more blood glucose for energy production. But then when you're done with the exercise, you want to bring that cortisol back down so that you can have a healthy metabolism. So what this person is describing is actually, you know, I'm always hungry and I can eat all day until I burst. That is because your body has been not receiving enough carbohydrate, okay? Like I said at the beginning of this video, when we eat sufficient carbohydrates, our cortisol level stays in check. So does, and that cortisol staying in normal range relates to our leptin and ghrelin levels also being normalized as well, so that we don't feel like we need to eat all day long, unless, you know, we actually need to eat all day long. But I'm talking about hyperphagia here, where you are making up for not consistently eating sufficient carbohydrate calories. So when I hear this, I'm always thinking this person's been under eating carbohydrates. So it's as simple as that. When you allow yourself to give in and go all in on a high carb, low fat diet, just eat as much as you want of fruits, sugars, and starches, and vegetables and legumes if you desire them. At some point, there's going to be a cap on that hunger, and then your appetite's going to come down some, and then that's when you know, now I'm carb adapted. Now my metabolism is running on glucose the way that it's supposed to. Now my cortisol is down. Now my body's getting healthier because I'm not I'm not utilizing cortisol for energy production anymore. I'm giving my body the glucose that it needs to support its own energy production without having to tax hormone systems. Okay, that is it. Thank you so much for all the questions. Leave any more questions or comments down below. Again, if you're interested in my coaching, check the link in the description box, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.